It's good news for the Blues. Get in, full-time, instant match reaction. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3. And I am absolutely fucking buzzing. I apologise about the language, but it's very, very rare do we see Everton win a game of football like that, is it? A really tight game. A really cagey game of football. I don't think Everton played particularly well. I don't think Everton defended particularly well. I think we were put under large amounts of pressure, certainly in that second half when they brought Elise on and they had Eze in there who, obviously should have been sent off in the first half, but we all know players don't get sent off against Everton. And never did I think, in the 78th minute or 75th minute, whatever it was, when they brought Elise on and they just equalised and they were getting forward, I did not once think that would result in an Everton win. In fact, I walked across the living room because I was nervous. I seen the score app that I use flash up with a notification of a goal. I didn't see who it was for, and instantly I said, oh, for fuck's sake, because I was that convinced that it was a Crystal Palace third, and then I went over, I seen it was an Everton third, and my head just exploded. What a win that is. That is Everton Football Club. Grit, determination, desire, battle, passion, and never giving up. Even in games where we don't particularly play well, we're maybe not, we're not particularly, playing the game plan as we would have liked. It wasn't a very typical Sean Dyche-esque performance, was it? Very different to the win at West Ham, very different to the win at Brentford. We didn't really frustrate them an awful lot. We didn't really stop them from getting forward. We didn't really stop them from attacking. Crystal Palace were in the game for 90 minutes today, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of Palace fans there that feel a little bit aggrieved that they've come away with a defeat in that game, because whilst Everton, I thought, was sharp on the attack, obviously the first goal within inside the first 30 seconds of the game, I think, as a whole, Palace probably controlled the game. Well, in fact, Palace did control the game. I don't think Everton were ever in particular control of it. My big sort of talking point for the second half was our need, and it was an imperative need for us to calm this game down and control it, because we were pretty much all over the place in the first half. Palace with the team getting forward, Palace with the team attacking, Palace with the team putting pressure on us, and we just looked all over the place. As I said, not a very typical Sean Dyche performance whatsoever. Defensively, I thought we were shaky today, but it doesn't matter. None of it matters, because we've won the game of football. And I can't tell you how many times I've sat here on these videos doing these instant match reactions. And if you've watched the channel for a number of years, you will know I've sat here time and time again and spoken about Everton performances where we've worked hard, we've played well, we've battled, we've deserved more out of a game, but we've ultimately come away losing the game because, the opposition team might have got a little bit lucky, or we've made the defensive error and we've conceded the goal. And it feels so good to be on the other end of that. Was that the best Everton performance I've ever seen? No, it wasn't, by any sense of the imagination. Was it the calmest? No, it wasn't. Was it the most comfortable? No, it wasn't. In fact, the goals we conceded were really poor. The first one is a defensive error, and obviously again, for me, I don't think it's a penalty. I think it's a dive, but it's naive by Branthwaite to throw his leg in that position. I mean, it's funny how 1 minute the commentators are saying, oh, it's a definite penalty, you can't put your foot in there, even if it's minimal contact, you can't put your foot in there. But it's interesting how when Everton players get fouled in the box, they've got to be virtually assaulted for it to even be considered a penalty decision. But, opposition players can throw themselves over at their own will. The only contact that is actually made is when Eze is on the way down anyway. That's when the contact is made, when he's on the way down. So he's dived. Now, yet you could say, well, it's naive by Branthwaite, and it is naive by Branthwaite to put his foot in there. But what are we coming to now with football? Are we coming to this point with football now where we're going to start telling defenders that they can't make a challenge? We're going to start telling defenders to not try and win the ball in the box, just allow attackers to get a shot off? Because that's where we are, isn't it? Because that was never, ever a penalty. It was never a penalty. I don't care what anybody says. There's nowhere near enough contact in that. I've watched Everton players fouled in that exact same way 150 times before, and never has it once been given as a penalty. It's really interesting how 5 minutes later, Eze does the exact same thing, throws himself on the floor, there's minimal contact, throws himself on the floor, and the referee waves it away and gives him a yellow card for diving. Hang on, 5 minutes ago, you gave a penalty for the exact same situation. But regardless, it was a silly goal to concede. The second goal we conceded, shocking defensively. The communication between Tarkowski and Pickford, where is it? Tarkowski completely leaves it as if he's had a shout from Jordan, and Jordan almost looks at him as if to say, I've not called, so why are you leaving it? Edouard gets in and makes it 2-2. And as I said before, it was at that point I thought, this is going to be another one of those afternoons, isn't it, where we concede late on, we lose the game, and we've got to sit here and talk about a really disappointing result and a disappointing performance. But it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a win, and you know, whilst it mightn't have been pretty, whilst it mightn't have been perfect, whilst it mightn't have been our ideal vision of what an Everton win should be, and it wasn't the ideal vision of what a typical Sean Dyche away win is either. Obviously, our ideal vision as fans is for us to turn up at Crystal Palace today, score 87 goals, and absolutely blather them. But Sean Dyche's typical philosophy is to go to places, make yourself difficult to to get through, frustrate the opposition, stop them from playing the way they want to play, and hit them on the counter-attack and score. It wasn't that either. It wasn't that. We conceded a couple of silly, soft goals. We conceded a couple of soft opportunities as well, which, you know, on another day might have caused us more problems. I thought Jordan Pickford was excellent, absolutely excellent. Some people will blame him for the second goal, but, you know, he's as much to blame as what James Tarkowski is. But after Decore made it 2-1, between that period of our second goal and their second goal, Jordan was outstanding. He made 3 or 4 big saves and in big moments to keep that game, obviously, you know, with Everton ahead. But I don't really know how to come on and react to these types of results, because I'm not used to it. If Everton would have lost today, lost 3-2, I'd have been able to come on and talk for an hour about the performance and about the result, because I'd be used to Everton performing like that, you know, being up twice in the game and still somehow managing to throw it away. I'm not used to us turning up with 5 minutes to go, scoring the winner, and walking away from London with our, you know, with 3 points for the third time in the space of 2 months, by the way. When was the last time we won 3 games in London in such a short period of time? You know, Carlo Ancelotti's season, maybe at COVID, we done quite well then. But other than that, we've spoken so much over the last couple of years about Everton's away form. We won 2 games away from home last season. In the entire season, we won 2 games away from home the season before. We were in relegation battles in both of those seasons. We're now at the beginning of November, and we've already won 3 games away from home, and 3 of them in London as well. Brentford, a really solid side at home, don't often lose at home. West Ham, decent side at home. And Palace, who, you know, okay, they've not had a great record, and we spoke yesterday in the preview about how they've not won at home since September, but they've got their players back. They've got Elise back, they've got Eze back, and the pair of them caused us problems today. Elise, when he come on, you know, I was convinced that they were going to go on and win that game because of how many problems he caused Everton. You know, Eze, as I said, for me, should have been sent off, should never have been on the pitch again. I thought the officials were shocking today, absolutely shocking. I've never seen that referee before, but, you know, maybe he's been promoted from the lower leagues. I thought he was disgraceful. I think he shit himself 2 or 3 times to send Eze off when he was on a yellow card and he made challenges. The challenge on Onana on a yellow card is atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious, and why VAR can't check second yellow cards is beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me, because that could have been a turning point in that game. If VAR were allowed to check that, deem it a second bookable offence, he gets sent off, and maybe it's not as difficult for Everton. But at the end of the day, who cares? We've gone and we've won the game, and all of those Blues will be on the way home now from London, absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. It's been a long time since I've felt this good after an Everton win. A long time. Don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely buzzing every time we win. I was buzzing after West Ham, I was buzzing after Brentford, but it's the manner in which we won today. It's great when we turn up and we win comfortably. It's great when we turn up and we make it hard and we make it, you know, difficult, and we battle with teams. And some people say, oh, it's boring. It's great when we win regardless, but to win in those circumstances when, you know, if you'd have asked 99% of Evertonians, you know, when Edouard scored that second goal and they made it 2-2, if you'd have asked 99% of Evertonians, do you think Everton will go on and win this game? I think the majority of us would have said no. In fact, there was a lot of people on social media, Twitter, saying just hold out for a point now. Just come out of here with a point, away at Palace, decent point, move on. And we go and get the winner, and it just feels unbelievable, doesn't it? It feels fantastic. Massive shout out to Garnagay, by the way. He comes under a lot of stick when it comes to his offensive play. I thought he was excellent against Brighton last week. Obviously, he was taking out the team today for Onana coming in. Again, some people might say that's a little bit unfair. I think when you've got a player influential as Onana in your ranks and he becomes fit again, you know, ultimately he starts the game. Garner comes on at half time and he deserved that goal because, as I said, I thought he was fantastic last week. Probably a little bit unfortunate to be taken out of the team this week. And, you know, he gets his fair share of stick from us, including myself, when it comes to his ability in front of goal. But the passage of play between him and Decore for that winner is just absolutely phenomenal. It really, really, really is phenomenal. The ball from Decore is excellent. And Ab's just shown once again why he is such an important member of this squad, why he is such an important member of this team. There was people who were unsure when he signed his contract last week about whether or not he deserved it, whether or not, you know, we should be giving him a new contract, should he have been allowed to leave the football club. And I spoke quite candidly about his importance when it comes to situations like this. Abdoulaye Doucouré is very often the player to step up when we need somebody to step up and score a winning goal, or he's very often the player to step up when we need somebody to make a big decision and, you know, ultimately put us ahead in a game. And once again, he's done that twice today. Not only did he score the second goal, which was a really, really nice volley. People would say, oh, it was an easy finish. It's not an easy finish when the ball is fired at you off the post that quickly. It isn't an easy finish. You know, not only did he score that goal, he obviously was, you know, had the assist for Garner's goal, which was, you know, an absolutely fantastic bit of play. It's a lovely ball in by Garner in the first place to Doucouré. He finds himself a bit of space, and, you know, people criticise Doucouré's ability to pass a ball or Doucouré's ability to, you know, play under pressure. I think is something that's levelled at him. He's very, very good when he's got to react to things, like the second goal, but sometimes he's not quite as good when he's got time to think. Well, for that winning goal, he had a lot of time to think and he played an absolutely unbelievable pass, and Garner finishes it brilliantly, doesn't he? Garner finishes it absolutely fantastically, and, you know, it was a really, really, really neat finish. Massive shout out to Vitaly Mykolenko once again. I think for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th week on the spin, an absolutely unbelievable performance by him. Not only did he get the opening goal, which is a really, really good goal. As I said, he tries it with the volley at first, gets blocked, and he continues his run. And this is what I'm saying about the increasing confidence in Vitaly Mykolenko. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about how it was last week after his goal against Brighton. We spoke about how 5 or 6 weeks ago, when he wasn't confident, he wouldn't have been in that position to score against Brighton because he wouldn't have continued his run. He wouldn't have made that run into the box because he'd have thought, shit, I'm going to stay back here because I'm not really great going forward and I need to be back defensively. But he didn't. He continued his run. He got in that area and he scored the goal. And I said after the Brighton game, hopefully that gives him the confidence now to be able to make those runs into the box, get himself in those positions, get himself in those areas when we're attacking, not aimlessly just run into the opposition box, but when we're attacking, to get in those positions, to give us an extra man up there. And once again today, he's on the edge of the box, he takes a shot, it gets blocked, and instead of staying where he is or reverting back and thinking, no, do you know what, I'm going to revert back here because, you know, ultimately they might counter-attack and I need to be able to defend. He doesn't. He continues his run. Ball comes in by Harrison. It's a really, really nice ball, to be fair, and, you know, he's on the end of it with a comfortable header. Second goal, again, he's in that position, edge of the box, ball comes out with him and he hits it absolutely fantastically. He deserved to go in. He deserved a brace today. It deserved to go in, but he hits it beautifully. It bounces off the post, and obviously it comes out to Abdoulaye Doucouré. And not only that, but defensively, I thought he was excellent today. He had another really, really difficult task today. Palace have got some really, really exciting forward players. Elise obviously come on. They had Eze in there. They had Mateta come on, Edouard in, and they've got some really, really exciting attacking players. And for the most part, he dealt with them really, really, really well. I thought Tarkowski was okay again. Little mistakes, and obviously a big mistake for the equaliser, but I thought he had a couple of moments as well where he showed his strength, he showed his battle, he showed his physicality, and he done well there. Jared, I think, struggled a little bit in this one. You know, the penalty, as I said, that for me, I don't think it's ever a penalty. I really don't, and I think anybody that thinks it is would think it wasn't if it went against their team without a shadow of a doubt. But, you know, he composed himself. I thought he was a lot better in the second half. First half, I thought he was shaky. Couple of naive challenges, as I said, couple of silly mistakes, but in the second half I thought he composed himself really, really well, calmed himself down, got himself on the ball and worked it well. I thought James Garner was active in the middle of the park. The two wingers I thought, and Dom, I thought weren't as much in the game. I can't ever really remember seeing Dwight McNeil do an awful lot. Jack Allison obviously got the assist for the opening goal, but again, from that point forward, I don't think he was particularly impressive. But it doesn't matter. And that the emphasis on, if you look back to where we were 12 months ago, firstly, we never used to win away from home. So we've already managed to turn that on its head. And now we're capable of going away from home and winning games of football. Now we're in a position where we'll sit here as fans on a Friday or a Thursday and we'll think, who have we got this week? Oh, Brentford away, fancy us there. West Ham away, fancy us there. Palace away, we can get something there. And I'm not saying that'll be the case every week. Of course it won't. And on another day, we mightn't have won this game because, as I said, I don't think we got lucky because I think they were lucky to still have 11 men on the pitch. But I think it could have gone either way at the end of it. So, maybe there is a slice of luck there, but it's about time we got a slice of luck because we deserved one. And as I said, Everton never win games like that. The last time I remember Everton winning a game in that situation, or a similar situation, was Watford away, when Walcott scored the winner. And I know we were 2-0 down in that game and Mina come back and scored a couple of goals, and I know we were ahead in this game, but by that what I mean is a cagey game where somebody scores in the last minute or in the last 5 minutes. It's very rarely Everton. As I said, that Watford game is the last time I can really remember it being Everton. Today it was, and thank everybody for that. But we're slowly seeing changes. We're starting to see changes from where we were 12 months ago. Not only are we now able to go away from home and win, we're able to win those games where it is cagey at the end and it could go either way. We're able to stay calm, stay composed, and go and get 3 points in those games. But also, we're not reliant on our attacking players. Last season, we were so reliant on Dwight McNeil to score goals. If it wasn't Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which it very rarely wasn't because he was very, really fit, it was Dwight McNeil. And if Dwight McNeil didn't score, Decore chipped in, of course, at times, but we were almost like, right, okay, where do we go now? Okay, Decore's got a goal. Who goes and gets the winner? Garner Gay didn't score a goal last season, I don't believe. Mikalenko, don't think he scored a goal last season. He got one the season before against Leicester. Maybe he scored against Leicester last season. Actually, I can't remember whether that was last season or the season before. But anyway, 1 goal in his last 2 years at Everton. Again, as I said, Garner Gay, no goal since his return. Today he scored the winning goal, big moment. Mikalenko, 2 goals in 2 games. Could have had a second goal today. It's all about everybody on the pitch chipping in. Onana scored a couple of weeks ago. James Garner scored a couple of weeks ago. That is what we haven't had enough of over the last 2 years, and that is why we've been in the position that we've been in, because we've been unable to win away from home, and we've been so reliant on 1 or 2 players in the team to score the goals, and when those players don't score the goals, we don't win the games of football. So even though McNeil wasn't particularly great today, even though Dom wasn't particularly great today, didn't matter. Miko stepped up, Duke stepped up, Garner stepped up. In previous weeks, Onana stepped up, James Garner stepped up. That Tarkowski stepped up. That is what is important. It's about having everybody in the squad confident to be able to get up there and put the ball in the back of the net if they get the opportunity to. And that is where we are. The confidence is absolutely flowing. That's 3 away wins now in the space of 2 months, all in London, against teams that beforehand you would have probably said, I don't really fancy us. Now, I feel like I know there's an international break coming up. I think we play Man United after that. Now, in a few weeks' time, when we've got our next away game, we might be sitting there going, no, do you know what, I fancy us. I know we've got a couple of difficult ones coming up. I think we've got Tottenham coming up. But you might think, no, do you know what, I fancy us here to get a result. Because we've shown that we can get results. That was why last week was so frustrating against Brighton, because our home form was being the Achilles heel this season, and I thought we had it under wraps when we comfortably dispatched of Bournemouth, we comfortably dispatched of Burnley, and then that Brighton game was so frustrating, but we deserve more in that Brighton game. So if we can go to Goodison Park against the Man United team that, let's be honest, are absolutely abhorrent at the moment. I think they've just beaten Luton 1-0. Okay, it's a win, but again, they were expecting more. There's every chance we go beat Man United at home. Ultimately, the improvements are there, and I have to give credit to Sean Dyche. I do think the manager made a couple of misjudgments today. I think he should have made the substitutions earlier, and as I said, I don't think the game plan, I don't know what the game plan was, but the assumption that the game plan was to sit back, to frustrate them, to defend, to stop them from playing the way they want to play. If that was it didn't work, but it doesn't matter. We've still come away with the win, and ultimately the manager and the players deserve credit for that, and there's a confidence about this team now, and there's a confidence amongst the fan base, and as sad as this might be, but the Premier League table was flashed up after the game there, and it showed that I think we're 8 points clear of the relegation drop now. Now, you might think, Cam, that shouldn't be the ambition, that shouldn't be what we're looking at. That's a negative way of looking at things. The reality of the situation is Everton survived last season on the last day of the season with a wonder goal that, you know, as I've said before, on another day mightn't go in, and we survived the season before on the penultimate game of the season. There was a lot of people going into this season saying this might be the season we drop. To be 8 points above the relegation zone in November is huge. It's absolutely huge, and I know for a fact the majority of Evertonians, before a ball had been kicked this season, before that Fulham game at the start of the season, if you'd have said to the majority of Evertonians, would you take now survival, the majority of us would have said, yeah, sound. No matter what goes on, just stay in the Premier League. And to be 8 points clear of it now, and especially when you look at the teams that are down there, Burnley, who, you know, I think are really, really poor, lost again today. Sheffield United, I think, are really poor. Luton are poor. Bournemouth, I think, are poor. It's a really, really good position to be in. It shouldn't be a comfortable position. We shouldn't be sitting here saying, oh, we're 8 points above now, we're comfortable. We should be striving, you know, another win and we go into the top 10, I believe, or we're in and around the top 10, a couple more wins, and all of a sudden we're looking much, much better, and it's possible. It's possible. Imagine where we'd be if we'd beaten Fulham on the opening day, a game we should have won if we'd beaten Wolves, a game that we should have won if we'd beaten Sheffield United, Luton at home. You know, we'd be up there in the European places. So I'm glad that, you know, at the start of the season, I was very pessimistic, I'll be honest. I wasn't really one for we've played really well, so therefore everything's rosy. Ultimately, for me, football is about winning games. Don't care how well you play, don't care how well you don't play. It's all about winning games. And at the start of the season, as well as we were playing, we weren't winning the games. Now, we're playing well and we're winning games today. We weren't great, but we've won, and that's all that matters. And I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm about to go to the gym, to go in the sauna, and then I'm coming home and I'm having a bevy, because that is unbelievable. And do you know what? I'm going to watch Match of the Day today, and I'm just going to keep reminded to the Everton game. Not asked about Arsenal, not asked about Man United. I'm just going to keep reminded to the Everton game, because that was absolutely boss. Absolutely boss. Get in, up the toffees. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Player ratings will be up very shortly. Yeah, buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. Who was your man of the match? Mikalenko for me again. I thought he was absolutely outstanding, but yeah, lovely to see Garner doing the old Cobra celebration for Danjuma as well. Who'd have thought Garner Gay had scored an Everton winner? Who'd have thought Everton would win 3-2 away from home? In London, who'd have thought Everton would win 3 times before November, after only winning twice away from home all season, the last 2 seasons on a bounce? Yeah. Get in, up the toffees, subscribe if you're new, give the video a like, see you after.